Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sportycast Football. My name is Riaz Parker, and this is episode 105 of the 343 podcast. And today I'm joined by AF, my trusty co-host. How are you doing, AF?
I'm doing good, man. Had some nice weather this week. I watched some amazing shows. Emphasis on amazing because I'm speaking about Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm doing good. All
That's
Gucci on my
great.
end.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Also, we have a surprise guest. Well, I wouldn't say guest, but I mean surprise host today, Jason. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
All good, man. All good. Happy to be back. It's a good week. Arsenal's keeping pace. I'm happy about that. And I noticed AF spoke everything about the personal things and not about his team, but that's fine. I suppose that's what the show is for, isn't it? So let's start.
What team?
Let's start
What team?
firing.
I'm waiting on Adidas. But I'm not like you and Lauren over here that ripping your teams.
Look, we have to rip. Our team
Look,
needs us. Your team needs you, AF. But
no,
yeah,
our teams don't need us. You know, that's why we don't rip.
no. Fair enough. Happy to be here. Happy to get stuck in.
Lovely stuff, Jason. And of course, our guest for today, we are so happy that he has joined us today. For this episode, it's the CEO of Cape Town Positivity himself. It's the Cape Town Brew, Lauren Zealand. Hello, Lauren. How are you doing today? How's your week been going?
Very, very good. Week's been pretty good after a gnarly Sunday outing with Wolves. It's my birthday today as well, so I'm feeling pretty confident for that fixture a little bit later, Villa. But yeah, I had a good week so far. Happy to hop onto the pod with you guys, chat with some really knowledgeable guys on football, and just have a liquor jaw tonight. Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate you spending a couple of hours, an hour of your birthday with us. But as usual, as it is for this podcast, we have an icebreaker for new guests that come on the podcast. So just a couple of icebreakers for you. I'm going to ask you two questions. The first one is a bit of an out there question. Would you rather be a star in a bad team or an average player in a good team if you had to play football?
I'm a team guy, man. I that star in a bad team is you need like a proper hard shell. You need tough skin to make it through a team like that. So obviously you're doing well, but I mean your teammates are just kind of the gelling isn't there. So I'll blend in a bit and be the average guy in the team. If we don't do well, we don't play well, then we all feel it together. That's what I think. So yeah, I'll go with the average guy in the average team. Sure.
Lovely stuff. I think we all probably would do the same. Hopefully, I don't know about Jason though, but I guess we don't have to get into that.
Why must you spotlight the guy?
And the second question I want to ask you is, it's because I appreciate him so much for being here at this moment in time. You know, so I feel like I want to put him down also a little bit. But the second question icebreaker that I kind of want to ask you.
We have a lot of happy birthday messages in the chat for Lauren. So. Yeah.
Thanks for the well wishes, everybody. Thank you. Cheers, Ramesh.
That's great stuff. Everybody wishing Lauren a happy birthday. Thanks so much for joining us in the chat. If you guys have any questions or want to take part in the conversation, of course, get involved in the chat and we'll obviously be talking about it, things like that. And then the last thing I wanted to ask you, Lauren, as the icebreaker is, growing up, who was the first person that kind of caught your eye while watching football? Who kind of was the first person to kind of got you to fall in love with football?
So, it most likely is around the time in sort of primary school in the late 90s, not too late. But there was this thing that went around where everybody would walk around and go, Liverpool United. And I essentially didn't know what they were talking about.
Yeah.
I wasn't following much sport at the time. And I went home and then I asked my dad, people asking me this question, Liverpool United, what do I say? He told me Liverpool. And I went back the next day and that's essentially how I became a Liverpool supporter. And that was more around the time where Stevie G, and I know it's a lot of people lean to Stevie G, but that really was with his introduction, that 98, 99, 2000, 2001, those years where literally this youth academy player blew through the spotlight again. We haven't had a player like that in a minute, the Owen years. But so Steven Gerrard definitely is a player that caught my eye amongst many other players from many other teams, but definitely Steven.
I love that, and I don't want to be biased, but I think that your father told you to choose right. Even though I have no stake in the matter, I personally feel like your father got you to choose right.
Funny enough, so years later, after the fact, 10, 15, 20 years later, I went back and I asked him, like, what made you tell me Liverpool? And it was the Beatles. It wasn't the team. He barely was following football. I said when he heard Liverpool, when he heard Liverpool, he said Beatles, because I don't think he could relate to Manchester at all. So he said Beatles, and then years later, I was like, you know what? Still glad that you gave me that choice. I do love the Beatles. I do love the city. And particularly when you look at Liverpool as a city, it's very reminiscent for me on like the middle class family and a middle class working city. It's not the riches. It's really the homegrown team, and I could relate a lot to that growing up as well. So very happy that I landed up by chance supporting the team for sure.
Lovely stuff. Now for our episode today, it's not going to be too much of a long one. We're just going to review some of the game week that has taken place, and then review some of the games, the Liverpool game tonight, and then the massive game between Liverpool and City this weekend. Jason, I'm going to start with you. Anything that kind of stood out for you this weekend in terms of fixtures and results, surprising results, anything like that?
I wouldn't go surprising. I think the first game of the week, Brighton against Chelsea, I think that was a real marker left in the sand. I think Maresca, in his lead up to the game, spoke very, I wouldn't say poorly, but he hardly spoke about Fabian Hurtler. And I think he soon regretted that. I think it was another game where Brighton showed that they do have the quality to be in and amongst, maybe the top 8, maybe the top 10, and maybe the form that they've showed isn't a reflection of the quality that they do possess. I found that game extremely interesting because, people's talking about Chelsea and they say they're in this building phase. They've also spent a bucket load of money, so it kind of puts a sort of spotlight on them. And again, not a top 6 game, but another game where I felt Cole Palmer struggled to maybe take the game by the scruff of the neck and really impose himself. Ghost Palmer, perhaps. Ghost Protocol. Mission Impossible. I think that was definitely one. I mean, besides the other things that had happened, I think that first game really set the tone for what is a very up and down weekend.
Yeah, 100%. And like you say, I feel like Cole, it's been a while since he's kind of taken the spotlight by the scruff of the neck. And I'm sure it won't be too long until he does that again. But as AF so aptly put, it's Ghost Palmer sometimes, and it just happens like that. But yeah, it was a great result for Brighton. And you're calling Brighton a big team. That's a compliment, I feel. It's quite a compliment.
Well, they're pushing the bigger teams, so yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
They are, yeah, 100%. 100%. AF for you, any game that you want to talk about in particular?
So I'm gonna speak about 2 games real quick, and that the first one is the one that I didn't expect this result to happen, and that's mainly because of the form that Newcastle was in. But the fact that Man City just came out and steamrolled them like it was nobody's business, that took me by surprise. But I expected Newcastle to put up much more of a fight after their performance against Arsenal last week in the League Cup. So yeah, that was quite surprising to me. It just looked like the players looked tired. The players just looked like they weren't up for it from the get-go. And it just like gave City the needed confidence that they were seeking. So yeah, I wasn't happy about that. But like on the other side, like Omar Marmoush, I want him to do well, and I was super happy that he got off the mark over there as well. And then the second game was obviously my team, Man United. Riaz, like Spurs, like they deserve to win that game. Like definitely they deserve to win that game. But at the end of it all, like our team looked depleted. I don't know what happened in training last week. I don't know what sort of hectic protocol Amorim put in place that a gazillion players got injured and we were left with 17-year-olds throughout the bench, with the exception of Victor Lindelof. He was like the grandpa among the grandkids. That was a bit funny. But just like I don't know, like the team just looks so disjointed. The team just looks like everybody's on their own wavelength. It's going to take a very long time for Amorim to get everything integrated, implemented properly for everybody to buy in. And majority of these players aren't going to be the ones that's going to end up seeing it being successful down the line. But also the fact that he didn't even give his youth a chance.
Yeah,
Like he had
true.
a bench full of 17-year-olds and 18-year-olds, and he was, I don't want to say cowardly, didn't want to pick them, but I think it was more just he has so much on the line already, and by doing this, if he ruins one of these players' careers by just throwing them in the deep end and messing things up, then he's going to be hung out to dry for that as well. So maybe it was a bit selfish on his part, but also if you are on the bench and you are good enough to be there, then give them about 15 minutes. I mean, giving one player 3 minutes is
That's
it's
harsh.
not okay in my book. That's what Manchester United is built up on. They built on giving these youthful players a chance. It's on the emblem, youth courage and success. So the fact that he didn't even buy into that and he just brought one guy on for 3 minutes, it rubbed me the wrong way,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it looks like it's going to be tough, that kind of rebuild. And like you said, it looks exactly that. It looks disjointed, and I just don't think
Yeah.
that he trusted the kind of the bench to fit into the system, because the system currently is what's making it look disjointed, because none of them can really fit into it. Like poor Bruno Fernandes was running a 10K on his own somehow during the game, and you could see he was struggling. But every time he's on the ball, you see the quality that he has. I was actually scared whenever he got the ball. I was like, he's going to make something happen here. And the poor boy was so tired that he couldn't even do anything properly during the game. Obviously, I'm happy about the result. And welcome to the injury crisis. Welcome. It's nice to have you here. Stay a while. It was an interesting game anyway. It was more boring than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was actually going to be a bit better than what it was. It ended up being. But it's a shocking indictment of both our teams of the lack of quality that game was, unfortunately. All we can do is hope that in the next one we're going to be at least a little.
It was just our bad luck that Vicario returned for you guys as well, because I would have absolutely loved if Kinski was in the polls for that game, because I
I'm
know
so
he would have
happy.
made at least one error that would have resulted in the goal for us.
That is true. But luckily we have a Superman back in the polls, and I couldn't be happier, genuinely. Lauren, I want to come to you. You said something in the beginning of the episode about the tough fixture that was this weekend of the Liverpool game, the 2-1 win at Wolves. How did you find the game, and how come you thought it was a little bit on the iffy side?
It was one of those where we were sort of just recovering from that Everton result in the week. That one kind of shook us quite a bit. The draw felt like a loss, and then it popped off nicely right at the end. It was nice to see Curtis stand up a little bit. Slot also got a nice little welcoming in that sense, where he admitted afterwards, he spoke about he should have handled it better. And then, but obviously, it was a little harsh. But at the same time, they also, you can see they're trying to clamp down on the dissent and the sarcasm, and when Pep comes through and then he kind of shakes everybody's hand. So those clips were playing all over and over, and then obviously they compare that to what Arne did. But that game was a little bit on the trickier side for us. Diaz wasn't firing as nicely. Our fans are getting a little tired with Robertson. What's that kid that caused so much issues for Wolves? His name leaves me now I can't get to his name.
Cunha.
I'm sure you guys will know what I'm talking about. There we go.
Cunha.
He was causing all sorts of issues with Trent down that right-hand side. They were literally just picking him out and feeding him ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was, we were pretty disjointed. That first 15, 20 minutes, we had some sort of flow again. And then when that second half came out, Wolves, I don't know what the guys were chatting about at halftime, but they came out guns blazing. I don't think we registered a shot for what could have, I think it was 30 minutes or something like that. I think we registered our first shot super late. And we're not used to also not holding the ball. So every time we get the ball, they press us extremely high. They nip the ball of us. We can't get the ball out to Mo. So it was a little touch and go. We had to bring Endo in to kind of calm things down as well. So yeah, it was Wolves was a very tough fixture, and that's why I told you guys I'm taking Villa with a pinch of salt. I know you guys mentioned, sometimes when you need Villa to really come to the party, particularly for the Gooners and just to disrupt Liverpool a little bit tonight. I'm quite stressed. Arsenal literally have come. It feels like they came back out of nowhere. Good month ago, I wasn't too worried. And then they've just been belting out results. So it's absolutely, every single game now matters. So I would love to pick up 3 points tonight. We'll still get to the City conversation a little bit later, but Villa isn't as straightforward. It's not going to be as straightforward as a lot of people say. I don't think it's going to be.
No, it definitely will not be. Asbar in the chat said that Liverpool registered no shots on target in the second half. That's obviously from a Liverpool supporter as well. He says that they played bang average in the second half. Super subs didn't do anything apart from Endo. But I want to grapple onto something that you said there about Robertson. So this season, Robertson's he's kind of lost the step a little bit. Do we think that we need to replace him in the summer?
There was a time, I think it must have been a season and a half ago, still with Klopp, where Tsimikas was coming really through the ranks and stepping up. And the guys in the chat, I mean, it's so much knowledgeable of your guys' fans and subscribers and everybody that loves your guys' show that please do hop in. But Tsimikas, had a fantastic form spell, and then he dipped a bit. Robbo was injured for some time, and then we kind of landed up with him again. So I don't entirely know what the deal is there. Is it going to be a case of Tsimikas becoming then another squad player and Robbo finding another home for himself? He's getting quite older. Are they in the market for a new left back? That left back role is pivotal because it's given us so much success, particularly with Trent on the right and Robbo on the left. His deliveries has been very poor. They've taken him off most set pieces. His defense, at least give something. You know what I mean? Give something. If you're not going to, assist and create great set pieces, then defend. If you're not going to defend, then at least give us something. And I think that's where Trent's also gotten away with quote unquote murder in a lot of occasions. His form and his going forward ability has kind of outshone the defenses. And the teams are latching beautifully onto that. Their tactics is literally just pumping down that side. And also you've got an alternation of either Konate or Kwanzaa that's paired on that right-hand side. You've got Virgil on the left. So Robbo gets away with quite a bit as well. With Virgil covers for him. But the chickens are coming home to roost. We need that left-hand side to cook, absolutely cook. And if you can't perform at that level, it's nothing personal. We have to look at some other options.
Yeah, 100%.
Lauren, can I just interject here real quick?
Of course.
And I'd like to get Lauren's point of view on this. So we saw that Konate was on a yellow card. There was a decision just before he got substituted that he should have gotten a second yellow there. He was very lucky to stay on the pitch, but that happened in the previous game with Connor Bradley as well.
100%.
Where he should have gotten on a slot just acts really quickly after that.
Yeah. But
you guys have gotten away with it twice.
Listen, but to not put us too much fully agree. Great point. But to not put us under too much of a magnifying glass, it's kind of happening across the board now. Quite frequently. I'm sure you guys are seeing it now as well. Season in, season out, they change a few rules and they add a few things here and there, but there's always some sort of a blanket tweaking, and a lot of teams are doing that as well. I do completely understand how rival fans would be completely upset for that and bringing us back to Liverpool again. Also, it didn't help the Jota incident. We all saw that one, and we're like, can we just get past that? Stop showing the replay. Can we just move past that one? It's a bit embarrassing. You need to work a little bit better on your simulation there. So.
At least feel the guy touch you and then make the action. Yeah. What are you doing?
But for that first second from the angle I watched it, I was like jumping at the TV, and we usually are. We're like, what was that? That sort of thing. So we definitely got away with. That's why that Wolves game we all know we're not talking too much about it as well. We really did get away with a lot. Unscathed, but then again, at the same time, that also kind of makes champions in waiting. Hopefully, inshallah, and all those beautiful things. You got those grinding out those results, and the same way Arsenal's doing as well. Those 1-0s, they have a beautiful chant 1-0 to the Arsenal, and it really is true. You sometimes things don't go the way, don't go your way, and if you can still manage to kind of technically grind out the result, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, 100%.
Just to look at Ulra's point. So that was the two things. I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you talk about Robbo, sort of falling off. The thing with both Robbo and Trent is they've solidified that position so much, right? That anybody that comes in after always looks very below what they've set as the sort of standard. So everybody raves about Conor Bradley when he falls in, because he's a hard defender, he does everything. But ask him to play the number of games that Trent has played and perform at the level that he played in the one game, it suddenly becomes a bit of an issue. Tsimikas, for the recency bias, it looks good because Robbo's been exceptionally poor by his high standards. So now you have somebody coming and he has a good delivery on his cross, he has a lot of excitement. Ask him to put 5 or 6 games together where he keeps that same level of performance. Suddenly, Tsimikas is out for 2 to 3 games. So there's a broad question of, okay, these guys are poor. And it's been shown because last year it was exposed because there was no Fabinho to sort of cover. This year it's sort of been exposed for Trent specifically. But it's not going to be as easy to fill the void that these guys leave because they've been doing it on such a consistent basis. So it's definitely a bigger picture thing that you have to look at. Like somebody put in the comment, I think it was Asfar talking about Milos Kerkez, great player, probably the best suited for Liverpool in that left back position because I think he offers exactly what Robbo can, and he's got age on his side. The right back becomes a bit tricky because are we wanting Trent to defend? Are we wanting to utilize him as an attacking asset? That's the thing that Slot has to figure out. Because if he is an attacking asset, that's great. You're having somebody that's delivering from the halfway line, all those things. Do you have a midfielder to then cover him? And then on the second point, which I was thinking about because last week I spoke to Junaid, also a big Liverpool fan, and I was saying that there's a certain degree of luck that every champion gets. And in the seasons where City have won it, there were certain things that just worked for them. Liverpool haven't been on the receiving end of any dubious VAR decisions. They've been lucky with certain instances, and it was a particularly hard-sore moment for me where I was trying to explain to my dad that the foul that Konate made is something that an Arsenal player or somebody else gets sent off for because it's a second yellow. So there's the extreme of every rule, and then there's that leniency element. And I'm not going to jump into a massive conspiracy theory because there's times where Arsenal benefit from certain decisions, and that's fine. Every team does. But it's hard to look past the frequency of leniency that Liverpool get in this season so far. So those things, and rightfully so, if you escape the second yellow card, I'd 100% hook him off. It's every club gets it. There's a tinge of it this season because Liverpool are sort of doing well, and there's a lot more that teams are getting punished for that Liverpool are not. But again, it's not on Liverpool themselves. It's the incompetence of the referees, of Pogmol, of things like that that's now rearing its head and it's bringing it into the discussion of, okay, Liverpool's actually favouring here. It's not that. Every team gets shafted, excuse my French, but It just there's a particular reason now it's brought into light because Liverpool are sort of, I wouldn't say running away with it, but yeah, they're getting added extras to what they're already doing well, and I think that's
But
how
that's the
everybody's.
thing, though. That's the
That's
thing, though, right? I think that if they weren't running away with it, I think we wouldn't be talking about it as much as we are now because they're running away with it. You know what I mean? So, like, if they
Yeah.
were fifth and like they will be getting the scores, I don't think we would be bringing it up as much as we are now because they are kind of running away with it, which is a bit of an issue. But I think the bigger issue is exactly what you said: is basically the inadequacies of the referees and the PGML and all of that stuff, which is kind of ridiculous. The inconsistencies in which they ref the games, things like that, it's actually unacceptable. And hopefully, eventually, something will be done about it. But all we can do is kind of just try and talk about it and not go on too much, but actually try and highlight it in some way, shape, or form. But we've been talking.
Yeah, no, it's,
oh yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Riaz. Just to put on his point as well, and I can understand that feeling from our rivals particularly, but you know the entire scene has also quite substantially come under scrutiny after Coot and his shenanigans. So I mean, teams are really looking into. We've always really looked. Michael Oliver's reffing this week. We throw hands in the air. Or Anthony Taylor's reffing the United Spurs game. Oh my God, it's going to be that sort of thing. So teams, the PGML is definitely under a lot of scrutiny since their own internal and private investigations that they needed to do. So. It's a very turbulent time, and I always say before all games, I always wish for just fair officiating, because at the end of the day, and we also in that same boat, with City and all their charges and X, Y, and Z, you just want the sport to be as neutral as possible. If you guys are better than us on the day, then so be it. If not, but you don't want to have a title running with Liverpool and Arsenal and City, Forest in the mix. You don't want that to be sort of smeared or tainted just by incompetence or by bias refereeing, that sort of thing. We want to feel good at the end of the season, and we don't want to bring up as rival fans. You don't want to bring up, oh no, this guy's doing this, or no, they're favoring this team, or that's you like the best team won at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. Agree with that.
Just before we preview this coming week or tonight's game and then the weekend's game, I just want to come to you, Jason, about Arsenal. We spoke a bit about them now in I guess in the title running. How did you see the weekend game? How was the weekend game for you? And Mikel Merino came out after the game saying he's not really going to be playing there anymore, but he scored 2 goals coming on as a striker. Now that you guys have so many injuries, how do we see that kind of playing out? Do we think that Mikel will eventually play as that striker, as a sub-striker, or how are we going to shuffle that front line about?
I think it's a good spanner to have and to throw on second half, but not every team is going to be Leicester. Not every team is going to give up that sort of thing. We're going to need some sort of quality to actually come through, and whether the experiment that we're trying is going to keep us in close touching distance of Liverpool, I don't know. Or whether it's going to be enough that my deepest, darkest wishes come true and Liverpool do falter in this next 5 or 6 games and it steps up to Arsenal having to jump in. Is it going to work? I genuinely don't know. I think credit must be given to Mikel Arteta for kind of making a way. But I mean, every manager has injuries. Every manager is supposed to sort of make something happen. So I'm not putting specific emphasis on Mikel Arteta. I think look at Bournemouth. Bournemouth's done exceptionally well. And, maybe they're not competing, but they've also had several injuries and things like that. We'll now see what Amorim's made of with his metal now, with all of his injuries. But yeah, I don't think it's something that's extremely sustainable, especially with the quality that Liverpool show. You can't have sort of like a mixed masala going into a title run where it's going to be important, where games are going to come and we're going to want to compete in both the Champions League front as well as the actual Premier League front. I mean, I'll take either one of them. If for some long shot I win either one, I'm exceptionally happy, because 1, I haven't won Champions League yet, but 2, I haven't won the Premier League in forever. So yeah, I don't know if it's going to be very sustainable. I think teams will then also just figure out that if we hold Arsenal to a certain point, they bring on Marino. Teams can prepare for it. It's not like we're doing anything exceptional. It's just well
I like his
crafted.
movement though. His
Yeah,
movement
no,
is
it's
very good.
absolutely great. But I mean, I think at an extent, Kai Havertz had the similar movement, but we didn't have that killer touch. So it's like
Yeah.
we can get to that point. You can take the horse to the water, but you're not going to force him to drink. So we can go as far as we possibly can with this, but I don't think it's really sustainable, and that's a cause for concern because I've been through this where we come to March and we close and then we fall away. I've been through it recently, but also during high school, I suffered a lot. I suffered because every time March, I would just give up on the season and know that I'd get Champions League again, but it would be the same old story. So,
A nice fourth
yeah,
spot.
yeah, fourth spot, it's fine. I mean, people used to ridicule us back in the day, but now it's like a hot commodity. You get fourth spot, you still get. So, yeah, to answer the first question, I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think it's going to work for a lot longer because teams that are better than Leicester will figure it out.
Yeah, 100%. Fully agree. But you guys did well there to actually come away with the result. So that was very impressive, especially with this running now that Liverpool have in the next 5 games. Like you said, they have a really, really tough 5 games coming up. And they could. It's possible that they could drop 6 points in these next 5 games. It's very possible. But if I'm going to come to you first, just a quick, because this is not the premium game that we want to preview, but this is a game that's happening this evening, a rescheduled game. It's Aston Villa playing at home against Liverpool. How do you think this match is going to go? Just give me maybe a quick prediction as well at the end of it.
I think that this one has the potential to be really, really tight. This one has the potential to be really entertaining as well.
I think it's going to be a banger.
I'm expecting like, because I think the last 2 games, Rashford and Asensio, they started on the bench.
Yeah.
They came off the bench and then they basically made their mark on the game. I expect both of them to start tonight.
Okay.
And Rashford, as we all knew, he went to Villa and he started flourishing again. It was his shot that came off the bar that Ollie Watkins ended up tapping in for their goal. He was causing the defenders a lot of problems. He was actually tracking back. I saw this one sliding tackle he made when he ran almost the half a length of the pitch just to make a tackle. I was like, dude, like, when have you done that for us? Like, what on earth? Anyways, but yeah, I think it's gonna be a great game. I'm going for it's gonna be tight, but Liverpool 2-1.
Okay. I like that. Lauren, coming to you next. You were speaking earlier about how you're a bit wary of this fixture. How do you think it's going to go, and what's your prediction for the game?
So we again without Cody, and it's a problem because it's not just him going forward and bombing up and finding players. He has immense hold-up play, and that just allows the team to nicely get in position or players to run nicely off him. So without him tonight, I'm curious to see if Slot. I don't know if the fixtures are. Fixtures aren't out yet, but it's not out yet. But there's some predicted lineups. But he'll probably most likely go Jota again. I don't know if he's going to give Nunes a start off the bench. I'm hoping Curtis could perhaps make a feature. We really needed some sort of, just that stability, but also just to pivot nicely and to also turn and face goal and to make that pass as well. McAllister has been quite tremendous, and Szoboszlai was almost bullied in that Wolves game. You spent a lot of time on the ground, but if we can spark there, I think we'll do really well. It most likely will be Konate and Virgil again tonight. But at the same time, looking at that Villa team, I mean, you guys are talking about Rashford. Rashford loves running against Virgil. Let's not forget all the times he scores that man problems. And I'm pretty sure the manager knows that. And you're going to throw that. And it's like you guys mentioned now with why didn't you do that for United? It's that thing where you go to another team and you want to almost prove to your ex-club or your previous club, like, I wasn't as bad. The problem wasn't me. The issue was, on your side and your tactics and whatever the heck it was on your end. So I'm hoping for us to be a little bit more calculated, a little bit more patient, and not allow a lot of gaps in the middle. Wolves were absolutely killing us, and then obviously pumping it to the sides. Mo has been fantastic as always, but I'm kind of his big critic of him as well. I do need him just to work slightly harder, just to help us out a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, tonight's gonna be frantic. I feel it's gonna be high emotions. It's always those games also when you know the whole footballing world is like, it's the only game for the night. Everybody's watching that fixture as well.
Yeah.
So the pressure's on. The pressure is seriously on. This week I said I'm praying for 6 points for my birthday week. But in reality, the show is live and the show is recorded. I feel if we don't come with it tonight, we could see ourselves drawing, and then that just permeates into the weekend. So a good fixture of tonight and a good performance tonight with a fixture against Villa would just send us nicely into the weekend when everybody gets to play as well. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one. Thank you so much for that well wishes. It's very sweet. So yeah, tonight's tricky. I'm glass half empty on this one.
Okay.
Ooh.
Unexpected.
What does the glass half empty predict? That's the thing. Is it a draw? Is it?
It's gonna go 3-0 or 1-1.
Okay, fair.
That's
So
out
either
of left field.
wait, but is that a 3-0 win or is it a
There
draw?
you go.
No. It would be a 3-0 win and
Okay.
a decent scoring win, a clean sheet win.
Okay. Okay. So not a loss.
Yeah,
That's good.
we need to get out quickly blazing, just silence, because you know that's that first 10-15 minutes. The team, if you're the favorite, that's if you can just quickly silence, and then that's exactly what City did in that Newcastle fixture as well. I was also just as surprised with you. Marmoush was amazing, but his good goals also wasn't like over the top worldies. I think one of them was, but I mean Newcastle did feel like they kind of laid a little back and kind of invited. They just invited wave after wave after wave. So I hope we don't do that, and we show them enough respect as our opponents tonight. But I'd like to be 2-0 up within half an hour. That's going to settle me.
I'm sure it will. Jason, just a quick prediction from you, since you are gonna. If he's glass half empty, surely you should be glass half full in this situation, right?
I'm gonna try and be that. Last week I said I'm somewhat of a toffee. Tonight I might be somewhat of a villain. So it's everything that everybody said is exactly correct. I think Villa Park's gonna be up for it. I think Rashford will definitely be up for it. I don't think he starts. I think you almost want Trent to sort of play a bit.
Yeah.
And almost in the back of his mind, okay, Rashford must still come as well.
Yeah.
So I think for me, back evening. Yeah.
I think Trent will be more worried about Morgan Rogers if that happens.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be. Yeah. I was actually just going to highlight Morgan Rogers has been one of the key players, and if you leave the sort of gaps that you allowed Cunha over the weekend, I think Morgan Rogers feasts on that. I think he's a very powerful runner. He's got a good idea of space and where to occupy and how to use his body. I think he's very creative. He's now started adding goals to the game as well. So that always becomes interesting. I think I'm going to go cheeky. If not, why not? I'm going to go 2-1 Villa.
Okay. Fair enough. I see that. I'm going to just go with, I guess, I like Liverpool win here. I was going to go with the fence. I was thinking about it, but I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool. I think both teams are really good. I think it's going to be a quality game, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be quality.
Take that blue t-shirt off and show us your Liverpool jersey immediately.
Oh, golly. I can't help it. I think it's going to be a quality game, but I think Liverpool, like they've done all season, I think, besides, I guess, last week where they ended up throwing the game, but I think they also have too much, and they'll score again and they'll win 2-1 for some reason. But we're running out of time shortly, and we have a big game to still preview, which is, of course, this weekend's game between Manchester City and Liverpool. It's going to take place on Sunday at 6:30. I like that time, I guess. Sunday at 6:30. It's at the Etihad Stadium. Jason, I'm going to start with you. Tell me, give me like an interesting battle, like a key battle for this game, and what we have to look out for specifically in this Liverpool City game this weekend.
Yeah, okay, so I think the key battle again, much like Rogers, is I'm going to highlight AF's good friend Omar Marmoush, and I'm not sure if they're friends, if they went to high school or anything together, but they are...
That's racist, eh? That's racist.
You said that it's at the start you were happy for Omar Marmoush. I thought there was some other connection there. No, it's not that. I think Omar Marmoush is the X factor that's
cancelled now.
Right? It's like 60 mil to add another different spoke into the wheel. I think I'm gonna go Omar Marmoush, depending on where he plays. If he's on the left, I think it's a tricky battle for Alexander-Arnold. If he plays through the middle as second striker, I think it becomes tricky because what do the centre backs do? What do the midfielders do? So yeah, I'm gonna highlight Omar Marmoush and I suppose any position that he's going to occupy. And that's the thing, they have a very fluid front three. So he could be on the right, he could be on the left, he could be through the middle. Haaland could drop deep, he could go over the top. So he's got a lot of skills in his pocket. So I'm hoping to see all of them. And yeah, I think that's the key battle for me. Omar Marmoush against any player that he plays against.
Fair enough. Lauren, I'm going to come to you next. And Jason was speaking now about kind of what City bring to the table. What do you think? Because you guys have actually done reasonably well against City in the past. At least you've scored goals against them, which previously was very difficult for, I guess, any other team or some other teams, mostly other teams, when they've gone on the title run. So what do you guys need to do well on Sunday to kind of get that result?
I don't like getting City where they are now. Like I wish I could have had City like 3 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago. They're on a bit of a they almost upset. They almost like Pepper's almost quiet with the league, and that whole December and January that they had, and we clapped them, and Arsenal clapped them, and everybody clapped them. That Palace draw. So I this is not a great time to be getting City. That's is that game at Anfield? Is that an away?
No.
That game's at Anfield, right?
Etihad.
No.
Is that Etihad? Oh, that's Etihad. So yeah, the Anfield result was it was 2-0 that result. But so this is Etihad, and though the fans, it's proper 12 man, it's proper Pep in his stride as well. It's not also the greatest that we're all playing tonight because there's just more for them to analyze as well, and for us to also go through. But I think Sunday is going to be a big one for us. Haaland still owes us quite a bit of performances as well, and he's been changing and altering his game quite. He's become quite a squad influential player as well. Like you said, the dropping deep. It's the two Egyptians up against one another on Sunday as well, which is pretty cool to see as well. So I think it's a lot of mental resolve. Tactics is going to be of utmost importance as well. It's going to be a great game to watch. But personally, this isn't a great time to be facing Manchester City. But you want to win the league, you got to face these teams. You got to win. You got to grind out the results, and I think we can do that for sure. I'm more inclined on facing City on Sunday than I am facing Villa tonight. Wow.
Okay. And for what reason?
Sure.
Like, why do you feel that way?
It's just old foe as well, and also the players knowing that they can sort of step up in these games. So you've got lone players at Villa tonight, and you've got these players like you guys have mentioned that has come through in the last month, 2-3 months that haven't been sort of studied and analyzed versus breaking down Haaland and Foden and all these superstars that play for City. That what's that? Is it Savinho? What's that his name? Baller, absolute baller. If he decides to run rampage on Sunday, we're gonna cack. Sorry for my language. We're gonna on that side that he plays, because I mean he absolutely ran rampage in that Newcastle game. It wasn't just a show. Yeah. So it's new blood, it's fresh energy. Yeah. So I hope the guys can match that on Sunday. We're we're gonna be at the Supporters Club for that one. Just a quick plug as well. The local supporters club
Go ahead.
At the Supporters Club at Mitchell. So I'm asking, all the football fans to come through. I mean, we have Arsenal guys come through for VFL games as well, all sort of rubbers. It's a beautiful football community. It's not, this is a Liverpool club. You're not from the club, like get out, that sort of thing. So it's like a vibes, and we get good bands from rivals as well. So it's gonna be a cool time to watch the game, for sure.
Amazing stuff. What about? Yeah,
just on yes, you're saying that there's more time to study. They have Real Madrid this evening, right? They have the second Liga Champions. So
they've got Madrid this evening.
So they've also got something that
changes a lot. It changes a lot, actually. You're right, Jason. It actually changes a lot.
They're also 3-2 down, and so whilst I think it could look, either results either pushes them further up with this wave that they're sort of going, but also a loss tonight again is also wounded Man City is a very, very tricky thing. If Pep thinks that there's no Champions League to play for, he's going to put all his effort into this league, and then you're going to encounter a City team that's going to be ready. Just to add some extra context. Great
point. Yeah, that actually changes. It changes absolutely everything, and I think they're home for that game as well tonight.
No, away. So they
played at Etihad last week.
So they're traveling as well. So okay,
so it actually suits a bit more into Liverpool's court, because
for sure we are a little bit more suited.
But I mean it's all just extra contextual information that makes the game even more exciting because everybody's got something to play.
Great point.
Yeah. Great point. And I mean, I also forgot about that, Jason. So now, basically, I was going to say, when I was going to speak about the game now, was that maybe City might be a bit fresher because Liverpool had a midweek game, and now you brought it, and I'm like, oh my word, it makes all of the difference in the world. I mean, it balances out perfectly. AF, your prediction for the game, and where do you think City have to be kind of strong, because at the end of the day, Liverpool are the team to beat this season. So where do you think City can kind of find that gap to kind of get the result this week? And what is the prediction for the game on Sunday?
Yeah, so if Nico Gonzalez has a game like he had last week against Newcastle, I think City might just see this one off.
In the midfield.
He looks like a sort of a mini Rodri, and I think that's what Pep referred to him as well. I don't know if you guys watched the game against Newcastle, but he looked very assured in his passing, in his strength of play, his movement on the pitch. It looks like the Rodri thing won't be much of an issue for City again. But if I'm thinking realistically, I think I'm going 2-2, a 2-2 draw.
Okay. Wow, that's big. Okay, I'll kick us off next. I think that it's going to be epic Liverpool against Villa. So I'll go. Hey, that's a good one. I'm gonna go 1-1. I'm gonna go 1-1 because I don't really want either team to win, but I also want there to be goals. So I'm gonna go 1-1, and I think it's gonna be a great game to watch because Liverpool versus City has been in the past couple of years the best game of the season, regardless of who else is playing, where else. Like no matter what the log says, Liverpool against City have been the best two teams over the past couple of years. So it's always been a great game to watch. So I'm very, very excited to just sit and watch the game as a bystander. Jason, I'll come to you next. Prediction for the game on Sunday?
I think the Newcastle game and even last week's game against Madrid, I think it's going to be 3-2 City.
Big.
I think both teams can score, but I also think they haven't been the best defensively, and I think Liverpool have shown a few more cracks now. So teams can get at them. It's just whether they have the quality to finish them off. And again, this is also me coming from an Arsenal perspective. I'd love that. I think it's probably going to be a draw, but I'm going to go 3-2 just for the overall vibes.
The glass half full. I like that. The birthday boy, I'll come to you last but not least. Since you said that you are more, I guess, glass half full in this game, what is your prediction for this game on Sunday?
I think if we can manage to hold them off quite nicely, and if we can just get a nice flow in terms of good counterplay. I feel that they'll also have a good fair share of possession on Sunday. I'm going with a 2-0 Liverpool. I've just got a good feeling about this City game, but we need to get a lot right for that. We need to get a hell of a lot right. Absorbing pressure, making sure that we keep it nice and tight. We gave away so much possession in that Wolves fixture. We were gifting balls to them just outside of our box. So if we can keep the unforced errors to an absolute minimal, and we can get under their skin a little bit as well. They tend to kind of also be all over the show if things don't entirely go their way. So if we can get those things right, I fancy a win against City on Sunday. Sure.
I love the confidence. I actually love the confidence. Let's come to the end of our show this evening. Thank you so much for everybody in the chat for joining us. Thanks to you guys, obviously. Jason, where can the people find you? If they want to find you, if you want them to find you, where can they find you?
So it's just at Jason Ronnie on X, Instagram. Yeah, I tried this week, guys, but it was more just a lot of retweets in my hurt state. After Konate somehow managed to escape a second yellow, so it was just a whole lot of just match my feelings. But yeah, I'll definitely try and tweet a bit more. But that's where they can catch me.
AF, what about you?
Yeah, at AFParker642 on all social media platforms, mostly Blue Sky. But yeah, I still have the applications to the others, so like I'll still get notifications if anybody does choose to want to communicate with me. But also sportycast, like, share, subscribe. If you are new to the channel, if you find yourself in our chat right now and you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. We love everybody's support, whether you're old, whether you're new. Follow us on all social media platforms as well at sportycast.
Lovely stuff. Thanks, AF, for that. AF, and of course, Lauren, anything you want to plug, anything you want to say, where can the people find you? Your floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so if you can follow LFC_Cape Town on X, we plug a lot of our games on there. We don't get together for all the games because it's just impossible for everybody to get out to the waterfront every single fixture. So there will be people there tonight, but it's not an official event. We've got a massive one lined up for Sunday. Our sponsors usually come through, so we usually give away home shirts. There's specials on drinks and beverages and food at the restaurant as well. And then also something nice and exciting as well, whether you're a Liverpool fan or not, perhaps you're just a Klopp fan, but Klopp will be, today is the 19th of February, so you'll probably be around when we play Newcastle. I think that Newcastle fixture is next week. So you'll be landing in Cape Town. They've got a charity event with the Hout Bay football, the football club in Hout Bay. So they had one in 2017. They've got another one back now as well. The normal one returns is the name of the event. So you'll be down and he essentially just takes Q&A, chats about his career and his life, being a football player, a football manager before us, with us, what his deal is moving forward, being at, he's at Red Bull now, sporting director or head of some crazy title. So we'll be chatting about things like that. That's happening on the 6th of March. If you head to the LFC Cape Town page on X, there's a link there for the actual event with ticketing. So you can grab a ticket there. That's on 6th of March. I think it starts around 7 in the evening. So he just does a nice Q&A and he gives out hugs after the dinner and he signs a few autographs.
Not just only for soccer players, right? It's hugs for everybody.
It's hugs for all. Klopp is hugs for all. Yeah, there's quite a bit of media there as well. And it's just he's a lekker out to just like sit and just chat with, you know.
Yeah, seems like it.
Very hot, like a great human, you know. So you'll get lovely insight, and it's not just a Klopp or Liverpool thing, but perhaps good insight into football and the way the world works and that sort of thing. So he'll be on the 6th, he'll be there. What else is going on? So yeah, and then it's Newcastle. We won't be doing much for that. and then I think it's Southampton after that Newcastle fixture. And then we've got a little bit of a League Cup final as well, which is 16th of March. We'll have another massive event for that game. That 16th of March is, I think it's a Sunday. Yeah, it's a Sunday. So it's League Cup. We play Newcastle again. Yeah, we play Newcastle again at Wembley. So we'll have an event for that as well. If you guys can head over to the LFC_Cape Town pages. So it's some exciting stuff happening with the supporters club now. Seeing Klopp and then cup final.
Yeah, amazing
That's it.
stuff.
Was there a Premier League trophy tour recently that I
might
have seen?
Yeah, they did. I actually don't know who was really involved. I think it must have been the Department of Cultures and Sports, Culture, Arts and Sports. It's kind of amalgamated in a way where Gayton handles all the sort of at a national level, and then I don't know how that came about, but they didn't advertise it well, in my opinion. They really didn't advertise it well. We just heard a week before the time, the trophy's going to be here. They paraded it at the prom. It landed up at our supporters club. Fans came through. They took some pictures. I wanted to change that god-awful blue ribbons to red ribbons, but I couldn't. Hopefully I can change that ribbons. Either way, that ribbons is going to change into the season. It's going to be red. It's going to be Arsenal. It's going to be Liverpool. We're gonna get rid of that. The blue just looks tacky. It's not even a nice dark Chelsea blue. It's this weird light.
He has the shirt color. He has the shirt color.
Yeah, it's the shirt color. So we're gonna change. The trophy had a little bit of a tour. I don't know what that really was for. Perhaps it could have been more aligned with perhaps soccer schools and Joburg. But I know the Real Madrid Foundation also launched 2-3 weeks ago out in Komiki. So they're doing a whole clinic out there, and if your kid is good enough to make it for or to be scouted there, they get a free pass for like their fees there, and they get flown over and that sort of thing. So there's lots happening in the city football-wise. I'm encouraging everybody to come out. I know the Arsenal guys are also, they get together a lot. I'm sure they're still at the Jolly Roger down in Plumstead, and in Kuils River, they're near Casa. It will also be super cool. I know I'm keeping you guys a little bit over time, but it would be super cool if we could do a live pod while the game is happening. Or just to work a lovely watch along at the supporters club. It would be fantastic. I think do we still have to play Arsenal? Do we still have a fixture left for the season?
Still have to come to it, unfortunately. Yeah.
Oh, you guys have to come to us. When is that? That's more probably April, I'm imagining.
I think it's the back end of March, to be honest. It's after League Cup.
That would be cool. Let's do a live event. All your guys, wonderful fans of podcast, can come through and meet you guys and have some chats and stuff. And it would be fantastic. Football is live and it's out there, and we need the Cape Town support. 100%.
Fully agree. We love it. Thanks so much for joining us today, Lauren. I appreciate you coming on so much. And you heard what he said, all the amazing stuff happening in Cape Town. I wanted to ask one last question before we go, just because I'm interested in where I can find more people like me, since I haven't really. You don't know any Spurs supporters, do you?
There's only you.
There's a solid Tottenham Hotspur footprint in the city. It's what's this gentleman's name? Michael Abrams. I'm not sure if you know Michael Abrams. I'll put you in touch with him. The Spurs club was out in, where Mutual is, the old Mutual building.
Yeah.
So there's a little clubhouse there where they play a little football there. The Spurs guys got together there. There was a small little Spurs outfit at Ground-Up Bar in Rondebosch East as well. I'm not sure if you've visited there.
Oh, yeah.
We played them 1 year there and with Brendan Rodgers easily, and Spurs clapped us horribly where things were flying and the Spurs supporters were absolutely loving it. And I distinctly remember that as well. But there's a solid presence of Spurs supporters, a little bit more on the mature side, I will say. There's not a lot of kids, Riaz, I'm so sorry, not a lot of kids willingly running into Tottenham Hotspur's arms right now.
Of course not.
So it's a lot of OGs, proper OGs.
Yeah.
Spurs
I
supporters.
prefer it that
I'll
way.
definitely put you in touch.
Thanks,
We
man.
play every year. We play an annual football tournament. So it's United, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, and Everton.
Okay.
So we play. So it's just guys ranging from 19 years old to 55, and the Spurs guys win it every year. I'm talking about that in their 40s and 50s. They walk us off the park. Fantastic team, and a good group of people. I'll definitely put you in touch. But yeah, there's a good couple of Spurs guys in the city for sure.
Amazing stuff. I did not know that, but it's good to know that, sometimes it feels it gets a bit lonely that I just randomly am here. But so Daniel in the chat, last thing, it says that the LFC versus Arsenal game is currently scheduled for the 5th of May, apparently. So that's quite a while away.
Hello, Daniel, what's up?
But that's even better because maybe things could have changed, and come 1st of May it could be a few more permutations. Maybe both of us are like trying to chase Nottingham Forest.
That would be epic. That would be epic.
Wow.
If that ever happens.
I thought we'd make it through the entire episode without mentioning Nottingham Forest, but
no way.
Jason,
No
well
ways.
done.
Chris
well
would
done.
deserve to be mentioned.
I bumped into a pure Forest supporter at the cricket. Gentleman must have been in his 60s, and I walked past him and I just did a come on Forest, come on. I don't really know their chance, but it sounds like something they would probably. And he looked at me and he stopped me, and I asked him, how do you feel? And he said, mate, we're not expecting this, we're just enjoying this ride. And for him to have said that, for him to have said that to me, and if you look at Forest running as well, before they got promoted to the Prem, I think they were in the playoffs the season before last, and they were just there. So I mean, for their fans to be in the position where they're not counting any chickens, they're not shouting, "We're going to win the title." It's just a wonderful space for them to be in, which is really nice. And Riaz, before I forget, you do know that Chad Simon, the singer and the presenter, Good Up
Yeah.
He is a massive Spurs supporter.
Oh, really? Okay.
Massive.
Did not know that.
He was working out at. I'll definitely put you in touch. Let's get Chad on the pod. I'll speak to it. Let's get Chad on the pod. Let's put him on. Let's get him on. He was working out at the Foreshore CBD, and he was chatting with Eric Dyer.
Okay. What is Eric Dyer doing here?
Dyer was here during some international break. I can't remember. Maybe somebody in the comments knows, or somebody in the chat knows. But Dyer was here. He has pictures with him chatting with Dyer. I was like, oh, that's dope.
That's crazy stuff. That's amazing. That's I did not know that. That's so cool.
I've never seen Riaz smile this wide.
Honestly, the guy is like
he's like a kid in a candy store here.
Yeah.
It's true because like Lauren said, like it's mostly like the old guard that kind of supports Spurs. Not really any new people kind of go into the arms willingly.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that suffers for the craft, I guess. But it's at least good to know that we have, I guess, other people. Because my friend also, he kind of jokes that I'm one of 5 supporters in the country. So that's always fun to get, as a jab. But anyways, thanks so much for all of you guys for coming on. It was a great episode today. We ran a bit long. Well, I apologize for that. But thanks so much for everybody in the comments as well. And we'll be back next week for our last, I think, episode before the fast at least. So join us for that episode 106. But until then, thanks all for joining us. Follow Sportycast, like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.